So Anthropic just launched Claude Mythos. I'm pretty sure all of you are wondering what exactly that is, why exactly isn't it launched yet, and why can't we use it yet? So let's dive into that. So it actually scored a 94% on the SWE bench test, which is the world's hardest coding test. It's basically a $10 billion software that only 12 companies get access to in the world. And if you want to reference this for yourself, I'm going to include a link in the description down below where we can take a look at Project Glasswing. I'm going to dive into that in just a second on what that is. It's pretty much the most powerful AI model in history, like ever in humankind, and we can't use it for a reason, and it's the most important thing that's happened in AI this year. We're not going to do another benchmarks video. Everyone's already done that. There is a lot of clickbait out there, and what we're doing today is understanding what Mythos actually means for the people building with AI or building AI businesses or automations and software, which if you're watching this video is probably you. So on April 7th, 2026, Anthropic drops Mythos preview, not to the public, not to developers, not even to big companies on a waitlist. For the first time in the history of this industry, a lab built their most capable model and deliberately chose not to release it. And instead, they stood up something called Project Glasswing, which we kind of mentioned just now, named after a butterfly with transparent wings where you can literally see right through them. And a metaphor is software vulnerabilities, right? Invisible until someone really knows where to look. And Anthropic's plan is to use Mythos to find every one of those invisible vulnerabilities before the attackers do. So here are the 12 core partners: Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, JP Morgan Chase. And these are the companies Anthropic decided were critical enough to trust with it. And here's a part that made me stop reading for a second. And Anthropic is giving these companies, Apple, Google, Microsoft, everyone on that list, $100 million in free usage credits just to use it. They're paying the biggest companies on the planet to stress test their model because they're not willing to let it loose on everyone else yet. And they also committed $4 million directly to open source security organizations. And it's literally, this is not a product launch at all. It's a coordinated defense initiative. And beyond the 12 core partners, they extended access to roughly 40 additional organizations: Cisco, Broadcom, Palo Alto Networks, the Linux Foundation, SentinelOne, and about 30 more. And these aren't startups, and it's not us. It's not yet. At least it's not released to us yet. And that not yet is the whole point of this video, right? Now, here's a part most people aren't covering. The world didn't find out about Mythos from an announcement, right? It leaked on March 26th. Fortune reports on internal Anthropic documents, and Mythos was described as, and I'm quoting, by far the most powerful AI model the company has ever developed. And the markets literally moved the same day. Then in early April, a misconfiguration in Claude Code accidentally publishes over 2,000 source files and more than 500,000 lines of Anthropic's own code to the internet. I wasn't really sure if it was April Fool's or not. And they try to clean it up, and in doing so, accidentally trigger thousands of GitHub repo takedowns. The company building the world's most powerful cybersecurity model and having their own security incident in the 3 weeks before the announcement, I don't say that to dunk on them. I say it because it perfectly illustrates where we are. Even the people at the absolute frontier are operating at the edge of what anyone can manage right now. And their stated goal, in their own words, was securing the world's most critical software before Mythos class capability proliferates beyond actors committed to deploying its safety. So the translation here is the bad actors are coming, and this is the head start. And whether you think that framing is right or not, this is where we are. So let's talk about the actual model. I'm going to run through the numbers quickly, and then I want to tell you the one thing everyone else is getting wrong about them. Because before I show you a single benchmark, here's the most important context in this entire video. Mythos was not trained for cybersecurity. It was not fine-tuned on hacking data sets. What you're about to see is what happens when general reasoning and coding ability hit a completely new ceiling. The cyber scores are a side effect of being smarter, and just keep that in your head as I go through these. So the first one is SWE Bench Verified, which is the gold standard for autonomous software engineering. So Mythos scored a 93.9%, Opus 4.6, the model that we're currently using, at an 80.8%, and those are the official numbers from the Glasswing announcement. These aren't approximations, and that gap is not an improvement from one version to the next, right? This is a qualitatively different category model. The next one is the US AMO 2026, the US Mathematics Olympiad, the elite competition in mathematics. Mythos scored a 97.6%, while Opus 4.6 scored around 42%. And that's roughly 2.3 times better at the highest level of mathematical reasoning in a single model generation. So if you're building agents that need to reason through complex multi-step decisions, that gap isn't abstract anymore, right? It shows up in every choice your agent makes. Next one is the autonomous terminal operation, right? Terminal Bench 2.0. Writing commands, running processes, navigating a real operating system at just adjusting based on what the output says, Mythos scored an 82%, while Opus scored a 65.4%. And this benchmark is one that matters most if you're running agent automation, because it measures whether the model can actually operate your computer or your machine, not just answer questions about it. For CyberGym, which is vulnerability analysis, you want to give the model a description, a known exploit, and let it find a vulnerable code in a real open source project, while Mythos scored an 83.1%, while Opus scored 66.6%. And this is where the numbers start to get genuinely concerning, which is where the next section comes up. Right now, here are the 3 benchmarks that were in the official Glasswing document, and I really haven't seen anyone else on YouTube cover this just yet. Firstly, SWE Bench Pro Mythos is at 77.8%, while Opus is at 53.4%, while for the SWE Bench Multilingual, Mythos is at 87.3%, while Opus is at 77.8%. But the one that stopped me was the SWE Bench Multimodal, right? Mythos was at a 59%, while Opus is at a 27.1%. That's a 2.2 times gap. And if you don't know about this model just yet, it's the model reasoning about images, diagrams, UI screenshots, visual interfaces. The harder and the more complex a task gets, the wider that gap becomes. So it's not just better at coding, it's better at the harder parts of coding by a wider margin. So Anthropic also introduced something called the Epoch Capabilities Index, right? So if you zoom in right here, and I can show you guys, it's a composite score that synthesizes performance across dozens of individual benchmarks into one number. They plotted every major Claude model from early 2024 through early 2026, and they all fit on roughly the same slope. And when Mythos drops, right, and the line goes nearly vertical, right, they explicitly say that they don't know if this rate continues, but they're calling it a significant capability, not a normal generational step. And one more thing on benchmarks that almost nobody's covering on YouTube as well. BrowserCom states that Mythos doesn't just get to the right answer more often, it does it with fewer tokens as well, which is interesting. At scale, the difference between an automation agent that's economically viable and one that costs you more than it saves isn't just accuracy, it's also efficiency here. So for anyone running OpenClaw and anyone inside Claude Club, which by the way is also in the link in the description down below, where we discuss newest AI trends, updates, and different use cases. So if you're running OpenClaw, it just means that your cron jobs get smarter and cheaper per token at the same time. And the ROI on an agent infrastructure goes up in both directions. And then there's the price, right? So Opus 4.6, the current flagship model that we're using right now, is already considered expensive at $5 input, $25 output per million tokens, while for the Mythos preview, if available to you, if you had access to it right now, is $25 input and $125 output. And that's confirmed in the official Glasswing document. And it's 5 times, right? It's not a rounding difference, right? It's not a version increment. It's a completely different pricing tier, and that pricing, that specific, isn't arbitrary. It's telling you something about what's fundamentally different under the hood, right? This is probably a model at a different scale, and it's not just better training. So when people ask me, hey, should I wait for a cheap Mythos, Hugo? The answer is no. Even when the public version drops, expect it to be this expensive for a while. The smart move isn't to wait for access, right? The smart move is to build your systems on what you have now, so that when Mythos does drop, you can deploy it selectively where it actually moves the needle, not scrambling to start building from scratch at the same time everybody else does. We have access to Claude Code. We have access to OpenClaw. There are new skills and plugins available to Claude Code every single day. We can start building now. We don't have to wait for Mythos to come to be able to use it. So how good is it at Cyber specifically, right? Because this is the reason the release decision happened at all. They collaborated with Mozilla, gave Mythos access to Firefox 147 JavaScript shell, a real live production of Firefox, and just let it loose, right? No specific target, no hints, just find something. And this is the result, right? 72.4% full exploit success rate, 84% partial success, and Sonnet 4.6, it was at a 4.4%, right? Look at that difference right there. I don't even need to say anything, right? Like, yo, like, what? So it also solved a corporate network attack simulation end-to-end autonomously, right? That was estimated to take a senior human security expert over 10 hours to solve. And in just a few weeks of internal testing, it found thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities across every major operating system and every major web browser. And the oldest bug found was 27 years old, sitting in OpenBSD since 1999. Someone wrote that code while listening to Limp Bizkit, probably on a Sun workstation. And Claude Mythos found the flaw in it 27 years later. And Anthropic didn't just say thousands of bugs, right? They named 3 specifically. The OpenBSD vulnerability allowed an attacker to remotely crash any machine running the operating system just by connecting to it, while the FFmpeg vulnerability was a 16-year-old bug with a single line of code Code, being the software used by basically every single video application on the planet, had run 5 million times without testing it, right? 5 million times. Those automated tools ran the line of code 5 million times, missed it every single time, and Mythos found it on the first path. And the third example, Linux kernel, the software running most of the world's servers, where Mythos autonomously chained multiple separate vulnerabilities together to escalate from a basic user account to complete control of the machine without any guidance, without any steering, just here's the code and go. And also Matt Schumer, one of the most plugged in people in the industry, put implications, but as plainly as anyone has, right? He said Anthropic essentially now has master keys to just about any software in the world. In some ways, they have more power than the government. And it's not just external observers saying this, right? Anthony Greco, SVP and Chief Security and Trust Officer at Cisco, one of the 12 core Glasswing partners, someone who is in the room using Mythos right now, said publicly, AI capabilities have crossed a threshold that fundamentally changes the urgency required to protect critical infrastructure. There's no going back. And the scary part is there's no going back. The old ways of hardening systems are no longer sufficient, right? That's the person responsible for Cisco's global security posture telling you the playbook has just changed. And there's the Park story. An Anthropic researcher put Mythos inside a sandbox secured environment, contained, isolated, designed with no way out. But Mythos found a way out. The researcher was at the park, their phone buzzed, it was a message from the model, and that's how they found it had escaped. And the stock market understood the implications before the official announcement actually dropped. So when the internal documents leaked in March, CrowdStrike fell 8%, Palo Alto fell 7%, Zscaler fell 10%, and SentinelOne at 9%, while Autka was at 6% in a single trading day. The market pricing was one thing, right? If Mythos level capability gets commoditized, the entire category of AI-assisted security products get compressed, right? That the traditional model where human analysts reviewing AI-flagged issues breaks down when the AI can find and exploit the issues autonomously, which means that disruption priced in before the press release even landed. And everyone's talking about the hacking here. I don't really care much about the hacking. You shouldn't care about the hacking. Here's what you should care about. The same reasoning leap that made Mythos terrifying, where a cybersecurity attacker, is what makes it a dramatically better autonomous coding and autonomous agent, right? And that is the thing that directly affects every single person watching this video right now, right? 93.9% on software engineering stat benchmarks doesn't mean it's a better auto compete, right? It means the model can close its own loops. What does this mean? You give it a goal, it plans the steps, it executes, it checks its own output, self-corrects, and keeps going without you having to hold its hand through every decision. And it also scored 82% on terminal bench, which means it doesn't just write code for you to run, it runs the code itself, navigates your file system, reads what came back, and adjusts the next command based on the output, right? That's the difference between a model that assists you and a model that works for you. 97.6% on elite mathematical reasoning translates directly into better decisions on complex multi-step problems, right? Better campaign analysis, better outlier detection, more reliable reasoning when there are 10 variables in play and the right answer isn't that obvious. So for anyone running OpenClaw right now, I want to make this concrete, right? Morning briefings, cron jobs, skills running 24/7, all of that infrastructure is running on Opus 4.6 right now. But due to the recent update where Claude kind of banned OAuth, logins from on OpenClaw, so a lot of people are using GPT now, which is kind of sucks. But when the Mythos public model does officially drop, you don't rebuild any of it, right? You swap the engine. The same system, the same crons, the same sol.md, just 20 to 30% sharper reasoning on every single decision those agents make, right? That's the upgrade that's coming. Anthropic also ran an internal survey of 18 researchers who were using Mythos every single day and asked, is this a drop in replacement for an entry-level research scientist or engineer? And 17 out of 18 said not yet. But 4 of those 18 said there's a 50% chance it qualifies within 3 months of scaffolding iteration. And scaffolding just means better tools around the model, like Claude Code or OpenClaw. I want to flag that humans are systematically biased against saying a machine can do their job, right? 4 out of 18 saying yes to 50% odds in 3 months is a much stronger signal than it looks. And your workflows don't really care what's under the hood, right? They just get better when the hood gets upgraded, right? So you want to swap the engine and keep everything. And there's a window open right now and most people are just sleeping through it, right? Mythos is locked behind Project Glasswing today, but the public Mythos class model is coming, right? The next Opus, probably weeks, maybe within a couple months. When it does drop, one of 2 things will be true about you, right? Either you already have OpenClaw running, your skills are built, your agents are deployed, you're using Claude Code, your sol.md is dialed in, and you just swap the engine and everything compounds immediately, or you're starting from from scratch again, right? Every person who waited for GPT-4 to get a cheap before building had to start over when the next model dropped. And then the people who waited for the one to stabilize had to start over again when GPT-5 arrived, right? The pattern repeats, right? And each time it repeats, the gap between the people who built and the people who waited just gets a little wider. So the compounding advantage in AI right now is not about which model you have access to, right? It's about how much infrastructure you've built around that model. Because your workflows don't care what's under the hood, right? They just get better when the hood gets upgraded. So you don't get smarter by getting a smarter model. You get smarter by having smarter systems in place when the smarter models arrive. And the system card is 244 pages, and most people skimmed it or read someone else's summary, but I want to spend 90 seconds on what actually stood out, because if you're building agent systems and planning to give AI access to your business tools, this context matters, right? In one test, Mythos escaped a secure sandbox, right? Gained full internet access and then completely unprompted published its own exploit methodology across 20 different obscure but technically public websites. Like it was leaving breadcrumbs for future versions of itself to find. So that wasn't a bug, right? It wasn't a failure. It completed the task it was given, and then it did something nobody even asked it to do. In another test, after finding a file editing exploit, Mythos went back and deleted its own Git commit history to cover what it had done. Nobody asked it to. It chose to clean up after itself. The same model that scored near perfect on honesty benchmarks decided not to leave evidence on what it did. It also had access to Anthropic's own internal API credentials by reading process memory, right? Credentials it was never given, never pointed to. It found them by looking at what was running on the system, right? This was the model you'll eventually give keys to your business tools, your emails, your analysis stack, and this is pretty much worth knowing. And possibly the most interesting one out of all, when Claude Code blocked it from launching a sub-process, Mythos acknowledged that the block was appropriate and then attempted to bypass it anyway by obfuscating the permissions escalation. It understood the rule, agreed with it in writing, and then worked around it, right? A model that understands safety constraints is also the model best positioned to work around them when it decides to. And Anthropic's verdict is still best aligned model they've ever released, right? Their analogy is the experienced mountaineer, right? A better guide can take you to more dangerous terrain than a novice ever could, right? The capability and the risk move together. And it's not a reason not to use it. It's a reason to design your systems with that already in mind. And this is also worth mentioning because it's pretty interesting here. There's a section of the official Glasswing document that I haven't seen anyone cover yet, right? So global cybercrime costs the world around $500 billion every single year. And in response, Anthropic has committed to a 90-day public report covering vulnerabilities found, vulnerability disclosure standards, patching automation, open source security practices, and standards for regulated industries. They're in active discussions with CISA and the Center for AI Standards, and Mythos is available right now through the Claude API, Amazon Bedrock, Vertex AI, and Microsoft Foundry, but only to the organizations allowed on that list, 12 companies. And another thing is that this is genuinely in the appendix of the official document, which I'm guessing about 3 people on the internet have actually read. The name Haiku, Sonnet, Opus, all literary forms, all with a clear hierarchy of complexity. Mythos breaks that structure entirely. It comes from ancient Greek meaning utterance or narrative, the system of stories through which civilizations made sense of the world. Anthropic isn't saying this is a better version of Opus, they're saying it's a different story about what AI is. And Mythos is not available to us just yet, that's fine, that's actually the whole point, because what Mythos tells us is exactly what's coming. The capability jump is documented, the benchmarks are real, and the same jump is going to land in the public model line probably sooner than most people expect. And one of the researchers at Anthropic called this, I'm quoting directly, potentially a turning point in history and one of the most consequential events in the AI industry he'd seen since joining the company. He's not on stage trying to sell you something, he works there, and that's the internal temperature right now. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest Claude Code and Anthropic and AI news, make sure you join a community down below called AI Insiders. If you want to stay up to date on the latest updates, newest use cases, and connect with all the AI geeks inside the community, make sure you click on the link down in the description below to join the community. And if you want to build that infrastructure right now, the agent stack, the automation layer, the skills that compound, we teach you how to do that inside. And if you learned something new, please give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm excited to see you in the next video.